Hey everyone, it's midnight here over in the UK, and unfortunately my kids' room is next to my office, so I'm going to have to whisper. They still don't sleep through the night, which is really freaking annoying. Anywho, what a hell of a week it's been. In fact, today has just been absolutely mental. So in this video we're going to very quickly talk about the FTX Binance debacle, how the SEC have just won a very important case, not good for crypto. Have a little look at liquidation levels, see if UK property is actually potentially screwed over the next year, and the charts. So let's do this. So I made a video 7 hours ago about Binance just knocking FTX out with a clean punch, and that basically Binance are going to be potentially buying FTX out. We'll see what happens. I think it's a very smart move by CZ, because he has no obligation to do anything. So basically, I'm in the M&A world, so mergers and acquisitions, and when you're doing something like this, like, you get to see under the bonnet to a degree. So CZ is going to basically lift up the skirt of FTX, have a little look around, and even if he has no intention of buying it, at least he can probably confirm a few suspicions he may have, have a hard look at the actual numbers. And don't forget, FTX is Binance's biggest competitor. So yeah, I mean, it does make sense to buy them out anyway, because then Binance will then own the whole retail world. Anywho, let's get rid of that. You already know about this. Also, for those who are not familiar with this video I made 5 days ago, it's worth watching, because most of the things I talk about in this are actually coming true. So it's rather interesting, and also some of the levels which I said that I'm looking at, like Quant 150, etc. Are starting to play out here. So that's that. I'll get on to the SEC in a bit. The other thing we need to look at is the Forex Factory, or the event calendar. I use the forexfactory.com calendar, and tomorrow is going to be interesting. So 10th of November we have CPI, so this is the US inflation figures. So this is going to be very important, so it's going to be more volatility tomorrow. So yeah, I'm personally not trading anything at the moment. I've done some spot buys, but I'm not doing any derivative trading. Right, so let's get on to the SEC. What the hell just happened? So this is a bit of a sad case, but basically there's a project called LBRY Library, and they have been in a court case against the SEC for about 5 years now, and yesterday they lost. This is not good for crypto in general, because although it's a great project and it's doing all sorts of stuff, it's created a precedent that this is now officially a security. So in the US, so basically this is going to affect every crypto that is US based, and because the SEC have won and this is now a security, that makes every crypto pretty much a security other than Bitcoin. It also means Ether or Ethereum is a security, so God knows what's going to happen there. So it's definitely worth having a little look-see. Just go to their page, there's loads of stuff going on there. Sad. Liquidation levels. Okay, yes, have a look at this. So I've been playing around with Kingfisher, and basically one of the things, I think the easiest thing to look at is this one. So come on, scroll down. Oh, God's sake, this is pants. There we go. Yeah, so let's just take a little screenshot of this, and we'll just pop it over here, shall we? Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, so this is basically showing you the liquidation levels for, well, on this particular chart, it's most of the main exchanges and Bitcoin, and it's used as leverage data. So this is showing the liquidation levels across the board. And what we're seeing is that this is the current price, and that there are a whole bunch of, let's get my pen out, there are a whole bunch of liquidation levels, big block around sort of the 14,000k, and basically everything from sort of 15k upwards. So yeah, people going along with their liquidations, or effectively their stop losses, all around this level. And so you could potentially look at this and go, oh, actually, you know, there's really not much happening at sort of 14k. So potentially just below, somewhere in the high 13ks will be potentially, I don't know, 13.7k could be the potential low, that being taken out, and then we're off to the races. But something else that you need to be wary of is this little hoo-ha over here, and this is around sort of 20.5k. So what this means is that obviously this shows you where the shorters are having their stop losses or liquidation levels. Now it doesn't tell you in which order this means, but typically whenever you have lots of liquidity, and that's basically what it is, liquidation levels are liquidity levels, the market will naturally gravitate to them because of the big boys. So one thing that we have to be somewhat careful with Bitcoin is this. So there's a couple, if we just go to the daily chart, there's a bunch of levels here. So when we're looking at this level here, there's basically a whole bunch of liquidity up here. So that's where the shorters have basically put all their stop losses, which is a bit silly really. I mean, if I was going to be putting a stop loss or a liquidation level, I'd want it above 22 to be super safe. But hey ho. So there's a whole bunch of liquidity there. And this bottom level here is that sort of 14k level, but we've got a bit of a clump. So I think we could have a cycle low around here, which is what I've said for a while. But I think we could have another little fall down, because don't forget we've got a big support here. We're literally resting on support around sort of 18.5. So if we do bust through this again, we could have a bit of consolidation around the 16k level. Now, two things can happen. We could have we could either pump up tomorrow into this area over here. Don't forget it's the CPI figures tomorrow, so that could happen, and then we just nuke it down to something like this. But maybe not that drawn out. I think all this is going to happen this month. So a couple of things going on here. So let's draw a line. I think cycle low is going to happen this month. So we can either nuke it back up here and then do something like this, and then bottom out, and then something like that. Or from here we go straight in to a Kobo and then in, and then as it makes its way back up to this level, probably comes back down a bit maybe. And what this could do is create a bit of a sort of a shitty inverted head and shoulders, with this 22k level being that neckline potentially. So yeah, the order I'm not too sure, but these are sort of the levels I'm personally looking at in terms of those lick levels. What else? UK potentially screwed. Yeah, let's have a little look at that. In terms of property, so as we know, obviously the bonds are just going through the bond yields are just going through the roof at the moment, which is just crazy, and the credit markets are freezing up. So if we have a look at so this is the UK Bank of England central bank, that is the lending rate, effectively our interest rate, 3.25%, a lot higher than US, I think. But obviously that's not the full picture, because the banks are lending at 4%. So what's happening is that a whole bunch of mortgages are being basically reneged on. And so when we're looking at the amount of mortgages being applied for, we're having a bit of a spike, because obviously people want to put in a new fixed mortgage because they're seeing interest rates rise. So that makes sense. But what we're seeing at the moment is mortgage approvals suddenly slumping. So I was a little bit confused probably sometime last week, because I saw this also spiking. I thought, wait a minute, what's going on here? All I'm seeing is mortgage applications being rejected. But yeah, I think this is a bit of a lagging chart, and I think we're probably going to see the mortgage approvals fall a fair bit. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And also charts, let's have a look at some of the other charts. So if we start with some of the ones, now I can't, these are all regulated assets, so I can't actually say anything about these, but yeah, this is an interesting pattern here on the dollar. That's all I'm going to say. So let's move on to Bitcoin. So yeah, I've spoken about that. ETH, yeah, it's resting on a bit of a support level here. So I would like to see this bounce. We've busted through here. It's sort of failed to close below it. Obviously these lines, they should be big fat Mars bar lines, not thin precise ones like this. But I'd like to see a bit of a bounce back up to, say, at least 1500. But yeah, as we can see, there's well, the ones I've been looking at. Sorry. Yeah, Solana is interesting. So Google Cloud are using them as a. In fact, let's choose a different Sol chart. So Google Cloud have been using them, have now become a validator for Solana. I'm not a big fan of Solana, but the fact that Google's now getting in sort of makes me question my stance around Solana. As it is right now, it's already dropped 91%, which is crazy. And it is literally, it's just bounced off a huge support level. I've got a little sneaky suspicion we'll probably get into that sort of level over here and then bottom out around sort of $17-18. If we go back up to this little list, Solana, Atom, yeah, DOT, I drew this little hole over here. The market literally just teased it and then retraced, but I'm going to sit tight for the moment. I think we've got a bit more falling to come. Where are the other holes? So AVAX, yeah, everything is really just getting back down to support. Yeah, okay, that phantom fade. This is a trade that didn't go well for me. I faded it too soon and I got spiked out. Trade, yeah, I mean, it did fade. I will always take a fade. I mean, look at Band. Band was in something else that, yeah, spiked up. This is going to come back down over here. Same with Doge. There we go. Doge entered this hole. You can see if we go into the 4 hour, maybe the 1 hour chart. It's well and oh wow, it wasn't there for long. 15-minute chart, you can see, yeah, it's here for a fair bit. Oh, I say a fair bit, probably about an hour. So yeah, I love fading shizzle like that. Oh yeah, so the other ones I was looking at is Quant. So obviously I drew my holes around the 150 level. We definitely hit the 150 and we in fact went all the way down. I lacked a bit of courage, a bit of mental fortitude earlier, because I saw I was looking at this when this was a solid bar down at 130 and I did really want to buy this, but I don't know, I was holding it for this level here. I thought probably got a little bit more to go. I think potentially I was a bit greedy with Quant there. It's a shame because I could have made quite a nice ROI there, but it's not game over yet. We're still probably going to bounce back over here and then head back down. FTT, yeah, okay, this is obviously this has just been a ridiculous day. We had that 22 level, which I drew in that other video, and I actually remember, if you look at that previous video, I drew a little hole around $10 and we hit that well and truly. I mean, you can always check my Twitter. I've been a little bit more active on Twitter recently. Yeah, so that's the Doge one. I said Doge hit. Doge, where else was I? Yeah, that was the Quant one I just mentioned. Coinbase game over. In fact, I'll come back to that. Yeah, GMX looks susceptible to a dump. Yeah, so GMX was at around $36. Let's have a look. There we go. Boomtown. Hole hit. We've got just curious what yeah, I think we've got a bit more falling with GMX. I mean, look at this, we've got big old support over here. If this breaches, could be interesting. We could see a nice little spicy move down to 25. So that's basically my next target for GMX. And I think that's basically it in terms of the things I mentioned in the other video. Yeah, I think before you start getting over bearish, just be aware that we're most likely going to have huge volatility tomorrow, and we could have a bit of a relief rally. And this is exactly what I've done with FTT. So I know it looks pretty grim at the moment, but I always fade over extended moves. So I actually bought a whole bunch of spot FTT at around 6, something like that, around this sort of level here. So no liquidation levels, literally just bought the lot. And the reason being is that just normal relief pullbacks will most likely bring this back into this level here, and I'm aiming to dump out around here. So I think my overall entry price is around $6. So if we can get out around $10 to $12, that'll be a nice 100% ROI, 80 to 100%, so that'll be quite nice. And don't forget, every big dump, I mean, the market wants to do a 50% pullback at least. So the market wants to pull back to, let's call it $15 really, $14, $15. So anywho, I hope that makes sense. Sorry for the long one. Good luck, folks.